Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Jocks of All Trades podcast. I am Brad, joined by Kyle. And if you know anything about our podcast, you know what tonight is. It is Jock Talk with the boys. Let's hit it out with the buzz. Kyle, go ahead and take the first one. I know you want to talk about it.
Really quick, I know we don't talk about baseball a lot in this podcast, but the Fightins, Philadelphia Phillies, somehow miraculously makes it to the World Series. They're going to play Astros, the cheaters from a couple years ago, starting Friday. Exciting stuff for Phillies fans. Congratulations, everybody who watches baseball. I'm excited. Obviously, it was a great series against the Padres and a fantastic run they've had so far. Definitely one of the most electric playoff series that I've seen. So exciting stuff, but we'll move on because we don't really talk about baseball that much. But yeah, congratulations, Phillies. On to probably the biggest news out of this last week was Christian McCaffrey traded to the 49ers. Brad, what do you think about this trade?
Well, I don't know if it's true, but apparently he didn't like his first game in San Fran.
I don't think anyone did. Oh, man.
What's up, D? Yeah, he didn't do super hot. But again, the 49ers are kind of like a running back by committee. Yeah. So that doesn't shock me. Do you put any stock into the rumor that he wants to be traded?
No, I don't. I think his dad or his uncle played in San Fran. I'm pretty sure this guy, I don't think anybody wants out after a game, but I do think it'll be interesting to see how he gets used because the Panthers, as we know, are pretty desperate, and he was their entire offense. Yeah. The 49ers, it's not going to be that way because Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, they have a lot of good weapons, and like you said, running back by committee, they have a lot of weapons on that team, and you're not going to get the usage that you did in Carolina. However, he's still a mismatch when he's healthy, and I think that'll take some time to get him on the field at the same time with those other guys and finding, okay, who do I target in this scenario? Who do I target on this play? Where am I going with the ball? But that's not necessarily all on Shanahan. It's going to be on Jimmy G, and that's the big question still. The 49ers defense, very good. Yeah. I know got killed against the Chiefs, but mostly everybody does. So that's not a surprise. But their defense is what's going to carry them. But Jimmy G will need to find the correct position, the correct play, and the correct matchup to go to because every one of those guys, I would say, is sometimes a matchup nightmare. Debo, for sure. You can stick him anywhere. Same with Ayuk, same with McCaffrey. George Kittle, will always be on the field as a blocker or a receiver. A ton of matchup nightmares on this team. So, hopefully, McCaffrey included, they can be selfless and understand that I'm not going to get the ball every time. And that'll be interesting to see, and interesting to see how they're going to deal with Jimmy Garoppolo because he's not that good.
I was going to say, you're going to need him to turn into a good quarterback really quickly, and that's just not going to happen. Yeah. The second bit of small news that came out, I'm curious to know what you think. We can talk about this in the second part. Elijah Moore requested a trade. That is weird. Yeah. That is weird for a second-year guy to already be like, hey, I'm out.
Yeah. He's just not getting the ball at all. He's seeing time. He's seeing the field, but they're not targeting him at all. And it's interesting. I mean, Corey Davis, I think right now is pretty much a middling receiver. Garrett Wilson is the guy, I would say, at receiver. But Elijah Moore, I think in year one, I think he kind of proved that he's a pretty darn good slot receiver that's going to be around in the league for a long time. I think he'll end up like a Jamison Crowder. I think his ceiling is much higher, but I think he can be around as a slot receiver for the next 10 years. I think he wants to go somewhere where he gets the ball and people will use him. It is interesting. It is funny to see someone request a trade so quickly. And Robert Saleh, the head coach, said, "Nah, we're not going to trade him." But honestly, if you're not going to use him at all, you're not going to target him at all. Why not? I mean, you Jets. I know you're winning a little bit, but you're still in kind of a retool, rebuild mode. Um, Brees Hall just tore his ACL, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, and that's a big blow. So maybe they're going to rely on the passing game a little bit more here. But their best guard, their best lineman, just tore his triceps. He's going to be out for the year. Um, so like they're not going to get rid of him this year. I'd highly doubt it unless they get a ridiculous offer because they need all the help they can get right now.
Right. I agree with D. I think it was kind of the perfect spot for him to sit because he won't have to carry the team. But will we get healthy McCaffrey or will we get stupid McCaffrey? Which a lot of the things he's gotten hurt on, it's because he's trying to carry the team. So I'm wondering if this is a good time to pick up McCaffrey in fantasy. Wednesday's our fantasy show. I'm not even going to go there, but just maybe look at offers.
Yeah, I think if you have McCaffrey, I think it would be wise. I think no matter how you look at it, like if you can get a really good trade for him, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But if you have him, like, if you don't get a good trade, keep him and see how he does because like his point total may never be 35, 40 like Josh Jacobs was yesterday, but like I think he can easily get you a solid 20 per game. So we'll see.
The next one is going to be really fun. I know you had this question, so I have a whole bunch, so you're going to have to kind of bear with me. What trades do we want to see made, and what are the terms before the deadline? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? I have like 7. So
yeah, I can throw a couple out there and you can bounce back. I'd love to see Kareem Hunt get traded selfishly to the Eagles. Apparently, the Eagles did throw out a third rounder for McCaffrey. I mean, that's not a good offer, but what Howie Roseman is known for doing is putting his his lips, his mouth, his voice into every kind of trade conversation there is. And I think for the Eagles, you look at how the team is built, and their run game is very important. And Miles Sanders has done a tremendous job. But if he goes out, it's very iffy. Running back is a very important position in their group. And if Sanders has gone out, which he has in the past, he hasn't been able to stay healthy if he's gone. It's very hard for them to be the same kind of offense just because they rely on him a lot. So I'd love to see the Eagles trade for Kareem Hunt and maybe give up like a third round pick or a fourth round pick. I think that would probably do it. So you can chime in with yours. I'm still kind of pulling over.
My first one, he's the second best receiver on the Broncos. It's Jerry Jeudy, but they don't need him. They have a plethora of wide receivers. I say strike while the iron is hot, trade him while he's got high value, and trade him to a wide receiver needy team like the Packers for a third round pick. That might turn out okay. A second, a third, somewhere in there. Get some good value back, but you don't need him. You need help at quarterback, as you have for years. Like, I think now is the time to start getting picks because this is a very QB heavy draft. You don't have to necessarily go get one in the first round if you don't like him. Wait for the second. You'll probably, if Will Levis falls that far, or Tanner McKee falls that far, or Tyler Van Dyke from Miami, like there's just so many quarterbacks that could potentially go. Anthony Richardson. Like we can just go on and on and on and on and on. Mm-hmm. But I think this is the year, and I think as much as I like Jeudy playing with Russ, like he doesn't need him. Aaron Rodgers has no one to throw to at all. They have hands of stone.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really beneficial for the Packers. Do you have another one?
Yeah. Apparently, Chase Claypool. There's been talks about him. Brandon Cooks as well. So 2 receivers that I think can make an impact. I think Brandon Cooks is obviously a better receiver than Claypool is at this time. But Claypool, obviously, the ceiling's there. Big physical guy, very fast. I think for him, a good spot would probably be somewhere like the Chiefs, I would say, just because I think they can do a lot with a little, and they put the receivers in the best spot to do the best thing they can do. And Claypool is very much a receiver that's not perfected in his route running, but he does a lot of things. I'm not going to say a la Debo because there's no one like him, but he Is a very good runner, very physical. I would say jet sweeps are something that he could do very well with how dynamic the Chiefs' offense is and how many different pieces they can put on the field in different situations. I think he would do pretty well in a Chiefs uniform. I think Mahomes can throw it to pretty much anybody. I think deep threat wise, like their deep threat right now is Mecole and Valdez Scantling, and those two are just incredibly unreliable. Uh, you know, Hardman had a great game last game. He did, but it's rare that he does that and goes off like that. And
Right.
Scantling is a band aid at this point. So if they can find like a deep threat, but I put Brandon Cooks there with him too. I think he's very much a player that Andy Reid would love to have on his team. But like you said, the Packers, they're super desperate. It's just going to depend on what kind of team Packers want to be going forward. Do they want to go all in, put all the chips in, and say, yeah, let's compete for this year? Or are they like, wow, our team kind of sucks. Let's get rid of some people. Packers could very much buy. I could see the Packers selling on someone like um, Aaron Jones or even AJ Dillon as well, and trading them to a running back needy team.
I like it. One that I think you'll like, it'll kind of circle to something we're talking about later. But listen, if you're the Jags, you have Devin Lloyd and you have Josh Allen, which kind of both play that like middle edge linebacker kind of position, which kind of makes your previous pick of Caleb Chason kind of useless. He's a good player. He just doesn't get as much use in that defense. If we're going to talk about some of the worst linebackers in the NFL, Kyle, I'm pretty sure you and I would both agree that the Detroit Lions have a really terrible linebacker core. I can't even name them because that's how bad their linebackers are.
Yeah, they got. I'm sorry, bro, whatever your name is. The linebacker they got this year in the draft is playing pretty well, but outside of that, Rodriguez, his name Rodriguez. Outside of that, yeah, it is pretty horrendous. They haven't been able to fix that in a while. But if you're looking at Cleavon Chason or Josh Allen, I mean, yeah, the Lions need pass rushers, no doubt. So,
Yep. Here's another one. This is just more like a because I'm a fan, I'd like to see it happen. Then I think it will happen. Cam Akers is on the outs. I don't know if it's just because he doesn't fit with the offense. I don't know if it's because they got along well with Darrell Henderson while he was out and they kind of don't need Cam Akers. But I'd like to see Cam Akers go to the Ravens for a third and a fifth. Look, J.K. Dobbins is constantly hurt. Gus Edwards went off last week, but that's not a guarantee. We've got Kenyon Drake. Like we're just Band-Aid. That whole position is just a Band-Aid. I would like to have a solid starter, and Cam Akers could be that. I don't know, but he needs somewhere new to make a chance, and I think he doesn't need to play as the RB1. I think he needs to play in a committee. And I think if you have Gus Edwards, him, Kenyon Drake, Dobbins, whoever it is night by night, I think having that to help him get back into it. But the Rams just don't work that way. The Rams work primarily as a passing offense. So he's never going to flourish there. So I'd like to see that. Akers for like a third and a fifth for the Ravens.
yeah.
What do you think about that?
I like it. I think that's typical Ravens move. Is like they need a receiver desperately. It's so obvious that they need one,
But they won't.
but they never do. And I think what they would probably do is like, hey, our running backs are dead. They can't stay healthy. Let's get someone to just like cement that position. I think Cam Akers could be that guy. I would also put out somebody also it's like long term at the position. Like they could go ahead in the first round next year and select someone like Sean Tucker or Bijan Robinson or Jameer Gibbs, but like who knows if they're going to be around at that point, and are you really going to wait another year? I think Cam Akers would be good for them. I also think guys like um, AJ Dillon or Aaron Jones or guys that Kamara even like that's something very sneaky that like the Saints Saints are on the downfall, and again they don't have their first round pick. And not saying that they're going to get a first for Kamara, but any picks kind of help at this point. I think that would be sneaky good for the Ravens to try and pick up someone like Alvin Kamara, who just makes your entire rushing offense like so dynamic. Like Lamar at quarterback, Kamara at running back are two of the best in their positions at breaking tackles and just getting massive gains on the ground. And he's really good in the passing game too. So like, okay, you might not be able to get a receiver, but you can get a running back that's a pretty good receiver. So if I were the Saints, I definitely would not hold on to Kamara because running backs' shelf lives are so short that like next year he could just be horrible and you get nothing. Honestly, look at Todd Gurley who just retired. He was good 1 year. Next year he sucked. Like while these guys have value, and while you're not in a position to win anything, I would see what you can get for Kamara and trade him to someone like the Ravens. So
yeah, I like it. Let's see. I have a few more. I'm going to go quick. Mitch Trubisky to Denver for a 5th round.
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, at this point, Russell's not getting it done. So, and if you're really a believer in Kenny Pickett and they keep playing him, just get rid of Trubisky, or you're constantly going to undermine Pickett.
Yeah.
And you're constantly going to say, hey, he's got to come in and save you, and you're just never going to get anything out of Pickett.
Yeah.
I say at this point, if you're going to play him, play him.
Yeah.
So Trubisky at that point kind of is useless. I mean, yeah, he's still a backup, but if you're Denver, you're desperate. Go get something. I have some big ones. I'm going to save my big ones for the end because you won't like them. Elijah Moore, I had to the Cowboys for a 3rd. That's not bad. The Cowboys need a receiver. Cowboys kind of suck outside of like CeeDee Lamb, and that's it.
Yeah.
So if you put CeeDee on the outside and Elijah Moore on the inside, that might actually help Dak Prescott out a little bit.
Yep.
Robert Quinn to the Rams, perhaps.
Back to the Rams.
Because they could use that. And I think Robert Quinn's time with Chicago is coming to an end very quickly because Chicago has never been a contender during his time there.
Yeah.
And he's going to do what all the old farts do and go to LA and try to win a title. So makes sense to me. Let's save the 2 big ones. Do you want to hear the spicy one or the reasonable one first?
Reasonable.
Saquon in a 7th to Buffalo for a 2nd round pick and Zach Moss.
Yeah, I would have said 100% on that trade like week 2 of the season. But now the Giants actually believe that there's something. And good for them that they're playing well. So I don't know. I don't think they'll get rid of Saquon. I really don't. He's been their MVP. Like for the Bills, heck yeah. If that offer's on the table, do it. Do it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know now because the Giants are really just outperforming their expectations. So,
but you did just say while the value is there.
You're right. I don't
because Saquon's 27, 26.
Maybe 26. Yeah.
Okay, so he's starting to hit the age where running backs go meh. So I say take it. Try to win the Super Bowl this year. Get a run game because you really don't have one.
Yeah.
Because Devin Singletary has been the most. Let's just talk about that for 2 seconds. Devin Singletary has been the most disappointing thing to ever happen. I remember the hype train. I remember saying Devin Singletary was such a beast at Florida Atlantic. He's going to help the Bills, and he has not done much of anything at all. Yeah. And Zach Moss hasn't been better. So I think at this point you need a star, or you just need to run all game and let Josh Allen run because nobody else can.
Yeah.
So sorry, that just irritates me. And for the spicy one, Kyle, there were some rumors going out that the Browns were willing to trade a star player out. The rumor was Nick Chubb to the Cardinals. So my proposal is a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 6th for Nick Chubb. He's younger than McCaffrey. I think you can get more out of him. And I think it suddenly makes that offense a little more dynamic because at this point it's kind of stale because Connor's hurt. Darrell Williams is hurt. They're on their like 4th string running back.
Yeah.
And you know they're going to pass or run with Kyler. Like it's pretty one-dimensional. So I think if you are going to do it, go ahead and make a big deal like that. But I don't know whether they're going to trade Kareem or if they're going to trade Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I would say probably Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt is more doable for the Browns and the Cardinals. The Cardinals specifically, they're just really pissing me off because they go ahead, get DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, they draft Andy Isabella, they trade for Marquise Brown, they got Rondale Moore, and they're like, yeah, like F it, let's get Robbie Anderson too. They just keep trading and put all these assets into one position, guess what? It's not helping them. Like, their offense is stale. Cliff Kingsbury's an idiot, and like, keep on trading picks for these has-been receivers. It ain't working. It's just really a badly coached team and a badly managed team right now. But I wouldn't put it past the Cardinals to go ahead and trade picks for something that they think will help. I don't know if Chubb's the guy, but like, if Kareem Hunt is on the block, then most definitely they're going to be in those conversations for Kareem Hunt, no doubt.
Yeah.
Because they just throw picks at the wall and don't care about them, even though they're nowhere near the Rams of last year. Like, the Rams of last year, you send out a third for somebody, you're like, okay, yeah. Why? Because the Rams are ready to win now, and they did. The Cardinals are nowhere close to winning now, so they need to hold on to their picks, but I don't think they will.
No, and it starts with Kyler and Cliff Kingsbury, and until that changes, it's going to be the same. Yeah. I'm going to ask you this because I feel like this is more biased for you than it is for me. Who's actually good other than the NFC East?
Yeah, it's in the NFC. It's hard. I meant this as an NFC specific question. We know that Chiefs and Bills are god tier on the other side, but the NFC is hard after those three teams. The Packers, wow, like, fall from grace, horrible. The Vikings, like, they're 5-1, like, good for them. I'm excited for them, for their fans. They've been through a lot. They have some good players on their team, but I wouldn't say they've ever looked. They got murdered by the Eagles, but like, it is the Eagles. We know the Eagles are pretty good, but I wouldn't say they've looked impressive, that impressive. Maybe besides the Packers win, but again, the Packers aren't very good. So, like, it's hard to judge the Vikings right now. I'd probably put them after the NFC East. But after that, it's a toss-up between the Packers and the 49ers, the Rams, and the Buccaneers suck bad. They're bad. Their defense is still fine, but Tom Brady is bad. But the 49ers, I would say, have the most likely of chance to be that next team just because of the weapons they have on offense, because of Shanahan, and because their defense is really good. Sam's Chiefs game yesterday. Yep. But I would say they're the most likely to keep on winning and get that, like, third seed, fourth seed, whatever. So I'd put the 49ers probably behind the Vikings, but I think if it was head-to-head, I think the 49ers could beat the Vikings, and I think they could beat the Giants too.
Probably.
So we'll see. But I would say the 49ers probably after the Vikings in the NFC. So
let's go ahead and tie up the next segment in a nice little bow, because I think you and I have the same thought. Can the Bengals get back to greatness? No, they cannot. Because what is their problem this year, Kyle?
A little bit of defense, but a lot of offensive line issues.
And the second problem, they can't get the ball down the field. Granted, last game, Jamar Chase went off. They got to him a lot. But that's an anomaly now. That's not a typical look for the Bengals offense. Which all starts with that stupid offense. You know what? I want the Bengals front office to call this podcast. How many times have we talked about this stupid O-line? You know how you get the ball down the field? You give your quarterback time to throw it. Like, it's a simple – do these people play Madden? Like, do they not play Madden? Like, the biggest thing is you want to stay in the pocket. You want your offensive line to keep you upright, and then you make a play. The receivers come back to you. The receivers will move. They'll try to make a play. But when Joe Burrow has to run for his freaking life, or when he's got 0.3 seconds to throw it, you are not getting the ball to Jamar Chase. You're not getting it to Tyler Boyd. You're not getting it to T. Higgins. You're not getting it to Hayden Hurst. It doesn't matter who you have in there. And I'm tired of saying it. Like, it's simple. So no, I don't think they will, unless there's some meltdown in their division, which the Ravens look meltdowny, the Steelers look bad, and the Browns are the Browns. So is it possible they still win their division?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. But it's because their division is a pile of garbage, and that includes my team. So
I think they can get hot at the right time. Like the bodies they have on the offensive line aren't great, but they're not the worst. Like they went out and
no,
paid for a lot of these guys, and I wouldn't say they're like bottom of the barrel offensive line group. But like because you got so many different pieces in one off season, they're not gonna gel right away. So like at their peak, and their peak will not be like Eagles offensive line peak or like Saints offensive line peak. It won't be the same or down. You know, it won't be that, but it will be a lot better, presumably if they all stay healthy at the end of the year. So I think for them is they really need to humble themselves right now. The coaching staff be like, listen, guys, our offensive line isn't moving anybody. They're not blocking anybody. Joe Burrow's getting killed out there. Our running game is horrible. We need to really make Joe move, get outside of the pocket so he can stay healthy, and really utilize everything we have at every other position right now. Like Joe Mixon, we need to get him the ball, in any way possible. Jamar Chase, we need to get him the ball in any way possible. Like there needs to be a lot more of certain design things for these guys because from what I've seen and from what I've heard from that Bengals offensive line, it is not humble. Sorry, offense. It's not humble. It's very much like, okay, yeah, we got one-on-ones kind of all over the field. Let's just drop back Joe Burrow 50 times
that's
and
all
throw
they
it deep.
do.
And
That's
it's
all
not,
they do. They run go routes every route, and they think they're going to win.
And it's not a good strategy. Like it would be a good strategy if your offensive line protected everybody, and once in a while, like those deep shot plays, that's all you do. Yeah, once in a while, like yesterday, you're gonna get those big 400, 500 yards, games because that's all you do. But it's not going to be like that every game. More often than not, if you throw for 500 yards, that means you're passing the ball a crap ton. And if you're passing the ball a crap ton, you're either going to get hit as a quarterback or you're going to throw a lot of picks because the more amount of times you throw, the more likely it is to throw interceptions, to get sacked, turn the ball over, especially in that massive capacity of like a 50 attempts. So they need to twist their offense a little bit. They need to wring out everything that they have, need to be complex. They need to be different formations. Like they can't do this drop back stuff. So if they can get that figured out, if they can do that, because they have a lot of good weapons, if they can do that and get hot at the right time, then yes. But their defense is definitely worse than it was last year. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to work out.
So Jim Irsay this week said that Matt Ryan is like Peyton Manning, yet he's thrown more interceptions than Wentz, and the Colts are 3-3, and they tied with the Texans of all teams. And even better, Kyle, Matt Ryan got benched for Sam Ellinger. We're back. Like, that's the guy who got benched for. Tank.
Yeah.
With all your willpower, tank.
Yeah.
Go get CJ Stroud. Go get Bryce Young. Even at this point, I'd say go get Hendon Hooker, like in the second round or something. Go get somebody because you are idiots. You keep getting these old guys, and they do nothing. Wentz did nothing. Although I think what your point with this was, we need to stop saying that it's a quarterback problem.
Right.
And it's an organizational problem.
Yeah.
Because
like
Taylor, you have Michael Pittman, you have Paris Campbell, you have Alec Pierce, you have 4 freaking tight ends, and you can't do anything. Yeah. Like, who does that say more about?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of both. It's like it's a problem for the organization to put all their belief and trust in these guys, which in turn, once you do that, you're expecting these guys to run your team and to do more with that offense than what it's capable of doing. And Matt Ryan, Philip Rivers, and Carson Wentz are not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like if you stuck Patrick Mahomes in that offense, he'd be successful, I think. If you stuck Josh Allen in that offense, he'd be successful. Like, but the quarterbacks they're getting are not good. And I told you all numbnuts, not you, Brad. You knew it right away. Other numbnuts out there said, oh, yeah, Matt Ryan, he still got it. Jim Irsay, he's the greatest leader ever since Peyton Manning. Like, ripping on Wentz constantly. Listen, Carson Wentz stinks right now, okay? But like, just because you get Matt Ryan, who's a little bit more, I don't know, suave and like can lead this team in a better way, he's still Matt Ryan, and he's not that good, not anymore.
Can I just say our favorite phrase to say on this? I'm tired of teams saying they're one quarterback away from being a competitor.
Yeah.
Here you go, Colts. Here's the laundry list at this point. You said we're a competitor. Where is it?
Three times. Philip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz.
Where is it?
And it's nowhere. So yeah, I mean they have some good pieces, no doubt. We could talk about that all day, but like, you know, organizational standpoint, you need a guy. Like you need a guy for a long time.
Yep.
Guaranteed when the Buccaneers, when Tom Brady's gone, they might go down back to rock bottom because like they don't have a guy. They don't have a long-term answer at that position, and that's fine. You won a Super Bowl, so good for you, good job. But like,
sorry, Kyle Trask stands. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. So yeah, they need to put a footprint on their team and be like, this is our guy. Like a quarterback needs to come in there for a long time and right the ship. And listen, you're not going to find Andrew Luck. He's one of a kind. But you can find a quarterback that you believe in, that you can orchestrate your offense around and be successful, especially in that poopy division. Like, it's a bad division. It shouldn't be this hard to win it. So, like you said, there's a lot of quarterbacks out this year. And, I mean, Sam Allinger, he's probably not the answer. So, I don't know if you can tank, but if I was up there, I'd be like, yeah, why not? Because
the Bucks. Ouch. Yikes. Oof. Whatever word you'd like to use. I agree with you. Tom Brady needs to reconcile things with his wife because he ain't acting right. Is that going to taint his legacy? Is how he's playing right now going to taint his legacy? Which, first of all, here's the stat that I enjoyed. For the first time since 2002, he is 3-4 as a starter. That's a long time. That is like put him back into retirement in your retirement home, like level numbers. That's bad. If I was a Bucks fan, I'd be calling for Kyle Trask. I'd be calling for literally anything other than Brady because Brady. Well, it's also on Mike Evans because Mike Evans had a wide open touchdown, just drops it. But this team just sucks. Like, I don't understand. How do you go from competitor to just Is it we're missing Gronk? Is it AB is gone? Is it we don't have all of Tom Brady's little retirement friends? Like, what is this? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I would say it's a combination of things. They if you even look at the Super Bowl year last year, they do like to run the ball. They do. Like, for all the love we've given, the accolades we've given to Tom Brady, like, he does like a good running game. He can work without it sometimes, but not at this point in his career and not with the offensive line that he has in front of him. It's just very mid. It's very boring to watch them, especially when they don't have a play-action game. It's just letting Tom Brady go back there behind a shaky offensive line and throw football. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna fly. About the legacy part, in my opinion, I think it will a little bit, just because I think this NFL culture is very much I hate Tom Brady. Now in the Buccaneers, you're like, oh, like, good job, Buccaneers. Like, Buccaneers never win. Way to go, Tom Brady, for letting them win. And I think people kind of turned for him in the last couple of years. Like, I used to hate Tom Brady a lot more when he was on the Patriots, and now he's on the Buccaneers. I'm like, oh man, we're watching greatness. This is okay. Yeah, we're watching greatness. And when you have too much of a good thing can be bad, and now we're starting to see like, like he just ruined his family life to come back and can't beat the Carolina Panthers. And I think in this world of social media. No one will ever let him forget that. That like when he is in the Hall of Fame, he's up there, getting his award. There will be screenshots, there will be retweets on Twitter, on Facebook about, okay, congratulations, but you still lost your wife, or you know what I mean, like things like that that will, I don't know, maybe not tarnish his legacy in terms of a Hall of Fame bid, but I think for fans and for people out there, I think it'll be like, yeah, he had a really great career, but he should have just ended it, while he was on top, because he could have. So yeah.
Kyle, it is time for our most important question that we have on the buzz. Is it Geno Smith time?
Dude, I'm a big believer in Geno Smith right now, but for the first two games, like, it's an anomaly. He won't continue this. But his accuracy has been incredible. Seriously, he's what is he on the year? He's 73.5 completion percentage. That's like Drew Brees. That's like Drew Brees, like when Drew Brees was at.
You heard it here first. Geno Smith is Drew Brees.
I don't know where it's coming from. I just think he's in. I mean, he's been on the Seahawks for a while, I believe.
Yeah.
So like, I think he's in command of the offense. I think that's what we're seeing. Now DK Metcalf got hurt. Rashad Penny's hurt. I think it's gonna, some things will come his way where he'll need to bounce back. But like, in terms of the overall player, he's got intelligence, he's got experience, he's got command. He's big, he's mobile, he's accurate. Like, those are really good things that you want to see in your quarterback. And I don't know, man. I think they could surprise the New York Giants this week. I don't think they could, because I think this is probably the best quarterback they've faced all year. So, and yes, I'm including. Or wait, yeah. Did they play? No. Sorry, I was thinking about Dak Prescott, but they played Cooper Rush. So yeah, this is the best quarterback I think they faced all year. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think Geno Smith can deliver Seattle to a victory against the New York Giants, because he's playing that good.
Can you imagine a Seahawks Super Bowl with Geno Smith as the starting quarterback?
I couldn't, but I'm here for it, man.
Yeah.
Just to see what Russell Wilson would do,
I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Since Breece Hall is going to be out for a long time, is this Michael Carter's chance to solidify himself as the permanent RB1, or do you think when Breece comes back, the reins just go back to him?
I think it's going to be a we'll see kind of thing, because ACLs are tough to come back from. Not as tough as it used to be. But like we look at Saquon, right, with his injury history. It took him like a year and a half to get back to now. Like, to get back to, like, you can be successful, but to really trust your knee, trust your ankle, whatever it is, it takes a while. And good thing Breece is that young, so I think he can recover and go back and be a good player. But at least the Jets do have Michael Carter there, because Michael Carter was pretty successful last year. And I'm very lucky that I still have him on my fantasy team. But beyond that, it's so tough to see him go down, because he was easily, I think, a lock for Rookie of the Year, probably. And I was going to put him on like Rookie of the Year status in Jock Paper Scissors. That's coming up in a bit, but I took him off because he's not going to win because of his ACL. So Michael Carter will have the reins for at least probably another year and a half.
Yeah,
and that's going to be tough, because like, poor Jets fans. They had so much to look forward to, because Breece Hall looked like the guy, like an Ezekiel Elliott type of impact on his team that Elliott had with the Cowboys. So maybe even greater. So that really sucks. So
yeah,
I feel for you, Jets fans. That's tough beat.
Let's hop over to our NFL highlights for the week. Anything that stuck out to you? I have to say, unfortunately, I caught bits and pieces this week. I was not able to watch a whole lot.
Yeah, I would just say if we go back to the Giants and Jaguars, Listen, I was a big believer in Trevor Lawrence coming out, but every time I watch him, I'm getting more and more unimpressed with him. Um, I know that his cast isn't tremendous, but it's good enough to look better than what he's been doing. He's just making really dumb mistakes, really dumb throws. He doesn't look as confident out there. And beyond that, they had like a third in inches uh, in the Giants' territory, like game on the line. I think they were leading or they were behind by a little bit. Either way, it was third and inches, and they got stopped, and they turned the ball over. Third and inches, they do a dumb running back handoff. Like, just freaking sneak it. You have 6'6" Trevor Lawrence. Just sneak it. Then fourth and inches, it was a sneak, but instead of going straight down, Lawrence has this little, like, jump to his right and gets, like, tripped up and doesn't even move. Just really dumb. Uh, Play calling by Doug Peterson, horrible execution, and again, Trevor Lawrence has had the opportunity the last few games to just like win the game, and he's made some dumb errors, dumb mistakes, and he could learn how to not do that. But just from a quarterback that was pretty clutch in college, from my point of view, he has not been that way in the NFL. So.
And it may taint his whole career because he just looks meh.
Yeah, he looks mad for sure.
Let's scooch on over to a spicy meatball. You're up this week, so I'm going to put you in the middle. You go ahead and talk. I have to blow my nose. I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Yeah, guys, I really do think the Green Bay Packers need to blow it up completely. We know what Rodgers is doing this year, and he's not doing much of anything. We know the receivers stink, and waiting in the wings after Rodgers is gone is Jordan Love, and no one believes in Jordan Love. Their best offensive lineman of the last decade has been David Bakhtiari, and he cannot stay on the field at all. And their defense, who they put so much assets into and money, underperforming at every level. Preston Smith ain't doing it. Quay Walker as a rookie, not looking that good. Their secondary hasn't been what they've promised either with J.R. Alexander, Eric Stokes, and Rizal Douglas. The defense has definitely been underperforming, and I think right now the strength of the team probably is on the offensive line and defensive line. So that's a good base to build from. But their weapons right now, their best weapon is probably Aaron Jones. And again, we talked about it before, like running backs have a short shelf life, and if your best player, best talented player on your offense is a running back who's getting up there, that's not a good sign for your future. So I'd blow it up. I talked about earlier getting rid of AJ or Aaron. I think that should be on the table. I think getting rid of some guys on your defense should definitely be on the table. Adrian Amos, I think. I think Rashawn Gary. I think you can get a lot for Kenny Clark, Preston Smith. There are a lot of guys you can rebuild this team with. And Aaron Rodgers just looks kind of cooked right now. Their best or their highest pick this year was on guys like Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, and then they went out and got Christian Watson in the draft. Christian Watson can't stay on the field. They've royally screwed up this wide receiver room. It's very bad, and I don't think it's fixable in a year or 2 years. I don't. Unless they trade big money for a receiver, but they didn't want to give that big money to Devontae Adams.
Nope.
So, how are you gonna fix that in 1 to 2 years? You're either gonna draft the receiver and hope to God he's like Justin Jefferson in year 1, which that's highly unlikely, or you trade big time money for a receiver, big time picks, but then you just kind of reverse what you did with Devontae Adams. So that's not getting better. And Aaron Jones is getting older. Rodgers is getting older. Their offensive line, while I think, again, their ceiling is very high in the strength of this team, they can't stay healthy, and your defense is underperforming. So I think they need to blow it up. They've had such an illustrious career with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's time to turn over a new leaf. You could even ship off Aaron Rodgers to the Colts because I'm sure they'll take him. So, I mean, why not? I don't think they're going anywhere. And we've seen even when the Packers, right? Even when the Packers are at their peak and they have all these guys and all these weapons and they're like 13-3 in the regular season, what do, Brad? After that,
Choke.
they choke. Like know your team, know your franchise right now, and I think again, like a lot of these players, they're at a point where you can sell high on a lot of these guys. So I'd blow it up.
I like it. It's not very spicy to me, but I'm sure it'll be spicy to some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even like trading Aaron Rodgers at this point. I mean, get what you can for the man because he ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's pop over to our ads here real quick. Caleb Kemper is a barbershop. He runs Fresh Cuts in Marion, Indiana. It is not just a haircut, it's an experience. Book with Caleb at www.freshcutsbarbershop.com, and he will have you not looking like a hobo. That is his whole thing. Our second sponsor is Steve Wood Illustration. He does all kinds of art. Anything geeky you can think of, that's the guy to go to. I bought most of my Christmas presents this year through Steve Wood Illustration. Get a hold of him on any of his sites that he has listed here and reach out to him for something for someone special in your life. The Culture Corner podcast will be coming up soon. Afro Latinos, unfortunately, is no longer, but Aubin and his wife will be running Culture Corner. Rules of the Frame is a movie podcast. They are kind of on a down tilt currently because Connor is a professor of film now, so he's trying to balance his time out. But we've determined in the summer, I've kind of already chatted with him, we're going to cover a lot of movies, and Connor will be there with us for those. So we're going to kind of meld podcasts over the summer through, what's the name of our show, Kyle? Smash Popcorn?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I was like, I know it's something. And then 1,000 Wives of Weird. If you've seen Billy on here before and his co-host Brad, they run their own movie podcast of all kinds of weird assorted things. And it's really funny. You guys should go check them out on Spotify. Okay. What do we have next here, Kyle? My computer stopped for a second.
I would just say really quick, the Jets made a trade for James Robinson from the Jaguars. So it's a big thing that just happened. Running back James Robinson to the New York Jets.
Well, I'm going to go pick up James Robinson.
I just claimed him in our league, or in your league.
So, oh, really?
But I think you have higher waiver priority, so you might get him.
I might. I'm about to go grab him in another league because all of my running backs are dead.
Yeah.
I'm starting Brian Robinson and Dameon Pierce. I had Cordarrelle Patterson and Javonte Williams, and both died.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So, and I have James Conner. So 3 of them are dead. I have Raheem Mostert, Brian Robinson, and Dameon Pierce.
So I'm so lucky because in my league, I have Michael Carter. So I was like, all right, yeah, let's go because, Hall's injured. So, yeah. But I already have James Robinson too. So, yeah, I have the 2 Jets running backs that they have now. So,
what do I want to drop though, Kyle? I'm going to drop Algier.
Yeah, that's probably smart. Well, that's a big trade for the Jets. Makes sense for the Jaguars though. Travis Etienne. Doing good things. So
I'm also doing something sneaky for our waivers. If I get it, you'll see it and you'll understand that I'm just strictly going for trades, but I'm not going to share what it is because it'll be nice and spicy. Anyways, flashbang. I've got some good ones for you. Kyle, speaking of improved quarterbacks, Geno Smith or Daniel Jones? How much do you believe in Geno Smith?
Geno Smith, because I think he is a better passer at this stage than Daniel Jones is.
Spicy. I like it. Russell Wilson or Russell Westbrook? Battle of the Russells.
I don't want to answer this. I don't like him either, man. I'll go Russell Westbrook just because he annoys me slightly less than Russell Wilson.
That's fair. Russell Wilson is a weird dude. Let's go to our NCAA newswire. I'm going to toss the stuff there on the bottom. Oh, I called it. I need to just start my own picks every week for college football because I called it. I said, okay, Ole Miss is in charge of their own destiny. It could be Ole Miss, Tennessee in the SEC championship game, but I think they're going to lose at LSU. Boy, oh boy, they did not disappoint at all. What a horrible way to lose, too, by 25 points. That is a lot. I think Ole Miss is just kind of out of contention at this point because if you lose to us on top of that, no two-loss team has ever made it. So if they lose to Alabama, I think they're just out.
Yeah, that's crazy because their secondary was touted as a very, very nice, probably one of the best secondaries. And Jaden Daniels
went off.
I mean, it wasn't like the biggest stat line I've ever seen, but it was pretty much like surgical. So that's interesting because I don't think Jaden Daniels is that good. So like, good on Brian Kelly. I mean, I don't think LSU is the greatest team in the world this year, but they're 6-2. So it's a really nice win for them. I'm sure they'll probably be ranked, maybe, this upcoming week. So, but yeah, Ole Miss kind of craps out again, and they usually do this, so I'm not surprised.
I watched this game and it made me mad because my hot take for this week, I guess, my spicy meatball, I don't think Clemson is one of the elite programs. I think they're very good. I don't think they're elite. And Saturday showed it. There is no way that you need an interception in the red zone to beat Syracuse of all teams. Syracuse. And you even had to bench your QB1. Like, that is not an elite program. Call me biased, call me a Clemson hater. I kind of am. But truth be told, you can't do that and say, we deserve to be above Alabama and TCU. And you can't do that. Like, yeah, I get it. A win is a win, whatever. But when a win is like that, they've given it to Georgia this season when they win like that. They've given it to Alabama this season when they win like that. Why has nothing happened to Clemson, and can Cade Klubnik lead them to be better?
I don't know. I don't know if he can. I would say, though, they did find some things out about their team. I think their defense is pretty legit. Oh, boy. Look at all their sacks they had. Breesy had a sack. Miles Murphy and Trent Simpson combined for 1. Tyler Davis had 2.5. KJ Henry had a sack. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. had half a sack. Shout out to Jeremiah Trotter Sr., former Eagle. Their defense, I think, is very good. I would say Syracuse, the biggest thing in this game isn't Cade Klubnik comes in or that Clemson sneaks it out. It's they only gave 5 carries to Sean Tucker, Syracuse. 5 He's legitimately one of the best running backs in all of college football, and you gave him the ball 5 times?
That was pretty foolish.
He had 54 yards on those 5 carries, 10.8 average. Horrible game plan. Now, forbid I didn't really watch the entire game, but so I didn't really see if there was no running lanes. But you can't really find out if there's any running lanes if you only give the guy the ball 5 times. So I think Clemson's lucky because I think how you neutralize a pass rush, because they have a good pass rush, is to run the ball, and they didn't do that with one of the best running backs in the game. So horrible game plan by Syracuse. I think Clemson should definitely feel a little bit shaky after this because I think Syracuse could have won this game with a little bit of a better game plan.
Yeah. I would love to answer the next one. Is Bo Nix actually good? No. Here's why. Regardless of his stats, he is a system quarterback. You know what system isn't good? Go look at Auburn right now. Not a good system. Good quarterback, regardless, would not look good in that system.
Yeah.
What does look good is Oregon. Oregon's offense is always touted as being highly successful. Usually you have a quality quarterback leading that. Marcus Mariota, Justin Herbert. You usually have somebody that has a good idea of the game and knows where to put the ball. I will give this to Bo Nix. He's gotten better about his turnovers. However, it It is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is still Bo Nix. Do not forget that it is Bo Nix. Bo Nix is not going to go first round, second round, third round now because he suddenly had one good year at Oregon. This is not Joe Burrow. This is not beating insanely ranked teams on the road. You played a UCLA team that, let's be frank, didn't really play anybody up to this point, didn't really look good. And let's go back. Your biggest game of the season was against Georgia. How many touchdowns did they score, Kyle?
Not many.
So what? I don't understand how Oregon is ranked as high as they are. I understand that they're winning. I understand that they beat the number 9 team, but it's still Bo Nix. Like, you're not good.
Yeah, I think his running game is impressive. And again, this Oregon offense definitely dictates that you need to have like a running quarterback, and their offense is predicated on that you have a running quarterback. And Bo Nix fits that bill quite well, and he's doing very good on the ground this year. But what I'm most impressed is like his completion percentage this year. Like I don't care who you play for. If you can hit over 71% of your passes this year, when you've barely scraped by 60% in your career, like that's insane. Like that's a number that you don't see very often. So like, do I think it's because Bo Nix is really good? No, but I do like that this offense, this team has given him some life. Because, like you said, I don't think he is as bad as the Bo Nix of Auburn, but I don't think he is as good as the Bo Nix of Oregon. I think he's probably somewhere in the middle. So.
I agree with that. He's an average quarterback. He's okay. He's not groundbreaking, I guess, is what we're getting at. I'd love to answer this next one because I have their schedules pulled up. So if you don't care, I'll go ahead and tackle this first. Can Ohio State and Michigan both get in the Final Four? Yeah, they can. Should they get into the Final Four? No, they shouldn't. Let me just run you through who they both have played to this point. Michigan has played Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn, Maryland, Iowa, Indiana, and Penn State. Tell me, how many quality opponents did they play?
I would say one, and that's probably Penn State.
Which they blew out. I'll give them that. You played one good game. Congratulations. Let's flip to the other side here, and he's not here, so he can't tell me to be quiet. Notre Dame, who does not have a winning record right now, Arkansas State, Toledo, Wisconsin, Rutgers, and Michigan State and Iowa. How many quality opponents has Ohio State played?
I would say
none.
Half. Yeah, no, you're right. They haven't played quality teams. I would say Michigan even more so. Like Ohio State, we know Notre Dame's not very good, but at least like you put Notre Dame on your schedule, you're like, okay, they're usually a very good competitive team. Like I'll give them that. You put Notre Dame on your schedule, like that's a good team to play because they're usually pretty good. And we know they're not, but like, good job for putting them on your schedule. Not many people would do that. Michigan didn't play anybody. However, their team makeup is very different from most college football teams, and is very different from what is now the Big Ten type of offense. I would say Ohio State and Penn State have very similar offenses. Ohio State's getting better at running the ball and getting that dominant offensive line, but Michigan, O-line and D-line, they're blowing people up. So we'll see what they do against a real test here. And again, their biggest test is going to be against Ohio State. But like, I do think, can they both get in there for sure? Do I think they should? I don't know. Like, you don't really know how they're going to do till they get in there. I think Ohio State can compete with a lot of teams. I just don't know how Michigan can because I haven't seen enough from McCarthy yet. Like, I don't know how their passing game can hold up against like when they have to pass the ball,
And how did that happen for them last year when they made it? Like, that's my whole point. Mm-hmm. Like, so I'm going to say it to both of them. I'll at least give Ohio State the benefit of the doubt that they're very talented. And I think their talent will get them into the playoffs, not their strength of schedule. Yeah. Michigan does not have the strength of schedule. Neither does Ohio State really to be in the top 4. If I were to rank it my way, they'd be at 5 and 6. Until you play each other and prove that you can play quality opponents well, I don't like you being at 2 for doing nothing. Mm-hmm. Like you're doing what was expected. You're supposed to blow out Arkansas State. You're supposed to murder Toledo. Like I don't understand. And I know what he's going to say. And I'm going to go ahead and say what he's going to say. So I'm going to have the unbiased person here take the middle road here. Alabama played Utah State, Texas, UL Monroe, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State. Granted, it's about 50-50. I think there's some good in there. I think there's some really bad in there. But I think A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Arkansas at least kind of brings it out to we played ranked opponents. Like, were they the best ranked opponents? No. That's how I don't know if the Big Ten's like that, but that's how the SEC is every year. It's always this. You don't know who in the world is going to be ranked where because it's this big roller coaster. Yeah. But then if you look at the rest of our schedule, we have to play LSU, a ranked LSU at LSU, a ranked Ole Miss at Ole Miss, and then we'll have to play Auburn, which Auburn is nobody. I don't even care about Austin Peay. That's just a tune-up game for us. But I'm just saying, like, for all the naysayers, we do play a difficult schedule. Yeah, we took an L, but honestly, Tennessee's hot. But I just don't like that Ohio State and Michigan, their biggest game of the season will be against each other, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some harder scheduling from some of these, like, because Luke will say it every year. He's like, but they play in conference. Who cares when you're playing Rutgers and Maryland every year? Who cares? Do you really think Rutgers and Maryland will ever compete in the Big Ten? Ever? I don't think so.
Yeah, it is tough. I would say the one thing that stands out for me is that when Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State plays the other two teams, like more often than not, they're always a good team. And I would say when Alabama, like they have Georgia. Georgia's been pretty good for most pretty much all the time. But like Tennessee, Arkansas, A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, while they're not always good teams. Like sometimes they'll have those years you're like, oh well, they look good, then they kind of crap out. Like you're not always like that. And I would say the flip side is that usually like 95% of the time, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State are always like up there, ranked good teams, and just beat each other up. Then only one team gets in. So
I would say the disparity then. I'm just my argument is the disparity between like the bottom feeders, as in A&M, Arkansas, are way better than Rutgers, Maryland, Michigan State.
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
That's what I don't like. Like, at least make it even. Schedule Notre Dame again. I didn't think that was a bad schedule for them. Notre Dame just sucks. Yeah. Like that's not their fault. But also, it's going to come down to their I don't know. This is like playoff rankings at this point. But to your point, I don't think it'll ever happen that two Big Ten teams get in because they're always, like you just said, they're always going to cannibalize each other before they ever get there. Yeah. It's not like Ohio State and Michigan, they're going to cancel the rivalry and then, oh, well, they might meet in the playoffs. No, that's never going to happen. Or they might meet in the Big Ten championship. It's not going to happen. They're in the same division. Like all your good teams are in one side.
Yeah.
At least with Alabama and Georgia, it's, opposite sides.
Yeah, we'll see.
But anyways, I've got one for you. I thought you'd like this. You don't have to explain anything, Kyle. For contender or pretender. Contender, pretender. That's it. So let's start out with TCU. Contender or pretender?
Contender.
Well, you didn't. You won't do the thumbs. Okay, that's all right. That's okay. I'll do the thumbs. Contender. Okay.
I got you.
Okay. So TCU, you said contender. Cool. What about Oregon? Contender. Oof. Tulane. Pretender. Yeah, okay. Wake Forest. Pretender. Okay. LSU. Pretender. Okay. And Cincinnati. Pretender. Okay. That was easy. See? Didn't even have to explain. All right. We'll pop out of this real quick. We got 2 more things, and I promise we'll wrap up because neither one of us like running really late. Jocks, paper, scissors. Let's pull them up this week, Kyle. Do you want to ask me or do you want me to ask you?
I'll ask you this time.
All right, let me pull it up.
All right, Jock, paper, scissors. The battle of 3 old, probably overrated at this point, quarterbacks. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson.
I don't like this one. I didn't like it when I put this up. Russell Wilson, because at least if he can't throw, he should be able to run it. The other 2, if you ask them to run, it's like asking a 96-year-old man to stand up. So, yeah.
Okay.
Let me go to the next one.
Rookie of the Year. Kenneth Walker, Chris Olave, and Damian Pierce.
See, I don't like this one either. Let's see. I'm gonna cut Kenny Walker. I'm gonna bench Olave, and I'm gonna say Rookie of the Year should go to Damian Pierce. There's 2 reasons for that. A, Kenny Walker is just now getting a chance to come into his own. Damian Pierce has been doing this since week 1. And 2, Damian Pierce plays for the Houston Texans. It's more impressive for me that a running back is doing well for the Houston Texans. I'll give it to Damian Pierce. Plus, no one. A few pundits here and there that I listened to early in the season and grabbed Damian Pierce from the draft. A few pundits said, he'll be really good. Pick him up. Sure, why not? Can't hurt. He hasn't failed to deliver. He's sitting at what, RB15?
Or higher. My God.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I think Kenny Walker has a sneaky chance of being Rookie of the Year just because I think they're going to give him the ball a ton. And from what I've seen, my gosh, he breaks tackles like not many people do.
Does he remind you of Marshawn?
A little bit. I would say Marshawn's a little bit more aggressive, bullish. Just like he seeks contact out. I would say Kenneth Walker is probably more like, oof, that's tough. I would say Kenneth Walker is probably like, Kareem Hunt, maybe.
I don't hate that.
Like, I think he has some shifty things in him, but I don't think he's like full on power like Marshawn Lynch.
That makes sense.
He can do a lot. I'll give him that.
Cool. All right. Round 2.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. Sauce Gardner, Tariq Woolen, and Devin Lloyd.
I'm going to give you 2 answers because I don't have one. I want to immediately say Tariq Woolen because Tariq Woolen wasn't a first-round pick, and that kid's playing out of his freaking mind, first of all. I'd like to pick him, but I feel like I have to take Sauce Gardner. He really is the next, incoming of Darrelle Revis. That's what he feels like. Like, it's not Revis Island yet. It's not Sauce Island. I don't like that. I'm not going to say Sauce Island. But he is really good. Like, I wondered how well the Cincy product would do. Like, yeah, he didn't really allow – what was the crazy stat? He didn't allow touchdowns in college?
Yeah.
I didn't think that would continue. Like, yeah, granted, he's been scored on, but he's still really good in coverage. Like, and it's hard to say that there's a Jets defender that's good. So I'd take Sauce. I mean, no disrespect to Devin Lloyd, but did we expect Devin Lloyd to suck? No. Did we expect Sauce to suck? No. Did we expect Tariq Woolen to be in this conversation? No. But I'll still take Sauce because I think he can keep doing that because part of the Jets' success has been their defense more than their offense because their offense is like a changing hand of quarterback every week. But I'll take Sauce. That's my final answer, Sauce.
I'm so upset because the Seahawks literally traded ahead of the Eagles at pick 10 in the 5th round and selected Tariq Woolen. And as soon as they did that, the Eagles traded down.
Oh, so it's who they wanted.
Yeah, the Eagles wanted Tariq Woolen. Can you imagine Darius Slay, Bradbury, and Tariq Woolen?
It'd be disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think Devin Lloyd's played pretty well this year, but those other two, I think it's a toss-up. So
I agree. We'll see more throughout the season and probably feel differently, but for right now, like, I'd be cool with either of the first two.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up our episode for this week. Thanks for hanging out. Like, subscribe, share, and we will see you next Monday.
See ya.
Bye, guys.